Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is going to be Bobby doing commentary, and this is going to be Blasphemous 80% Glitch. It's a pretty broken game. But first, we have a very special incentive. It was the language choice between Spanish and French, because this is a game made by a Spanish studio, and that has been very dear to the Spanish restream community as well. And a very good friend of mine named Kemigoku is a Spanish runner of this game. So we had a language choice bid war for French and Spanish. Can we have the result for that, please?
Well, I do want to say we did meet that, before we get to that, the MacBat 64 upgrade to 100%. So thank you so much, friends, for getting that fantastic work. Now, the important question. You are playing in French, sir.
Let's go. That's so huge.
Thank you so much. That was $2,300 right there.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
Okay, so let's start the run. Let's have a countdown.
Let's do it.
3,
2, 1, go. All right, welcome to Blasphemous, folks. We're doing some commentating here. So generally speaking, we're going to load into the game here. We have already done menuing skips, which is awesome. We've already skipped all of the cutscenes and dialogue and tutorials, a lot of the dialogue and tutorials that you'll see in this game. And so Rocher immediately loaded in and basically canceled all that. So we're going to basically just be cooking through this game. This is a 2D, side scroller, Dark Souls-esque like game. If you have not played this, it is a gorgeous game. You may notice also our trans rights penitent one as well, our character, which is awesome. So that's really awesome. So shout out to the reskin here. And already we have our first boss. We're going to do a quick up CC, which we're absolutely melting through our boss. We're doing quick damage by doing crouching and slashing upwards by doing really fast damage. These bosses are cooked using this method. It's a really precise timing for those hits. Really nice job. First boss is already down. Wow. Amazing. Perfect. All right, so we're moving on from there. You're going to see that method of attacking, that up CC, throughout the entirety of this run. So get used to that method of attacking here. And so we're moving on to this next area. We're going to be picking up an item here shortly. This will be called our Vertialis. But actually before that, we're going to mention here, we actually have a controller and a keyboard connected here, because actually mashing the spacebar is a little bit faster here that you're right now, that you're noticing. It's a little bit faster than doing it on an actual controller. So we wanted to make sure we called that out as well, that we're playing with both a controller and a keyboard for that reason. And then coming up here, we're going to be picking up what's called a Vertialis. That's going to be used for a couple different enemies in the game. Number one, it's going to be used for the processioners that you'll see towards the mask section of the game. And secondly, they'll be used for our Chrysanta fight, which is our biggest fight later on in the game. So right here, you'll notice we'll pick that up. We'll wait a few seconds here for that cutscene to kind of disappear. But for the next, I would say 30 seconds or so, we have kind of just some walking and working through enemies. So Asuka, if you have any donations to read off, that would be great.
Absolutely. $25 from Luce Scarlet, who says, good luck, Penitent 1 on the speedrun in trans rights.
Blue Scarlet is one of the moderators for the Blasphemous community, and she's done so much for this game.
That's awesome. Maybe time for one more?
Of course. Le French Restream has donated $10.
Oh, nice.
I'm terrible at French, so we're going to read the English version of this. It's saying, hello, this donation is to rename Queen as Mathieu in Final Fantasy IX. That is a French restaurateur, actress, and television presenter. Good luck with the end of the marathon. Less than 3.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those donations. Keep them coming in. And major shout out to the French Restream. All right, so coming up here, we have a pretty big skip, and it's going to look very, very, very silly. So it's called an IMC. So with our sword, we actually start with a level 0 sword. We're going 0 to 5 here. What we're going to be doing here on a transition screen, we're going to be cutting back and forth. And so we're looking for the frame in which we are transitioning between screens here. And so you'll see Rocher hit that transition, get that altar to upgrade his sword to level 1. And we're gonna go all the way to level 5 here. And so what that's doing, we start with 10 damage on our sword, and each time we do that, we get 4 additional damage. Upgrading your sword throughout the game requires a lot of different methodologies, throughout the game to slowly kind of upgrade your character. We're doing that from the outset, but we're using this glitch. And so in transitioning, we're actually constantly over and over again getting that altar, upgrading our sword level to that number 5. So again, like I mentioned, each time we're adding 4 damage. So if you're doing the math, 4 damage 5 times, that's 20 plus 10. We're gonna have 30 damage damage for our sword for some of these fights later on. So that'll allow us to just cut through some of these bosses and enemies coming up here. And so what you're seeing here is you can see that little Albero tag at the top. Our character, we can actually kind of see where our character is a little bit, and we can kind of swap these screens here, and by pulling up the menu, we can kind of get a frame of reference as to where we're at. But again, we're doing this 5 times in a row with blind, semi-blind navigation here. So, and with that, I think that's 5, yeah?
Yeah.
There we go. Really awesome job. Again, that's mostly blind navigation through that section, so that was a really fantastic job. Coming up here, we're doing a little bit more navigation through some of these levels. We're coming up to a skip in probably like 30 seconds to 60 seconds from now. So Oscar, we got time for maybe like 2 or 3 more donations here?
Of course, going back to our global love, $5 from an anonymous Buckeye who says, greetings from Iowa City in the Hawkeye State. So it's a Hawkeye, not a Buckeye. Gonna be heading to bed soon, but I wanted to make sure to stay up long enough to catch this run. Looking forward to the rest of Saturday as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And just as a heads up, we do have an incentive that just opened. I know you love petting friend-shaped friends. We can pet a fox-shaped friend in Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus. We need to raise $5,000 to pet that wonderful fox. And we already have some love coming towards it. So if you want to pet that fox, ! Donate in chat and
we need to pet some
donations.
foxes.
Absolutely.
We need that. All right, so coming up here, we're gonna be doing some ledge grab zips, and so you're gonna see what I'll be talking about here in a moment. And so, also in addition, in this screen that you're seeing right now, there would normally be a tutorial, but because we skipped all the tutorials, we're not gonna be doing one. We're also gonna take a safety here because right before the run, we actually just accidentally died right there, so that it's like 2 minutes of backtracking.
For no reason.
For no reason, yeah. So coming up here, we're gonna be doing a really tight ledge grab in which we're gonna be doing that ledge grab, and we're gonna be menuing right when we connect here at the edge. So we're gonna have a setup here, and we have a moment where we open the menu at the ledge grab, we would tick upward. First try, oh my gosh, that was awesome. Really nice job. That was fantastic. So just to kind of summarize there, it's a ledge grab, and the moment that your character would normally zip up, the game would automatically normally just send you to the top of the ledge, right? When you're at menu, it kind of just almost has like depending on how long you're in that menu, it can store going upwards your vertical momentum, which is awesome. And so coming up here, we have another skip right away called wrong warping. I could talk about wrong warping. Rocher and I have talked about this for hours at end on how to do this. So what you're gonna see here is opening up the menu, functionally opening up the menu to enter a limbo state outside of your save file. So when you're outside of your save file, you can navigate your character in a way where you're moving your character outside of the game, but loading into a different part of the game while outside of your save file. And so once you basically click back into your save file from the load state, you can load into an entirely separate area of the game. And that's exactly what happened. That was really fantastic. I just wanted to call that out. They did it faster than I could even talk about it. So
this is a game about parallel universes.
It really is.
Legitimately.
Literally parallel universes. You'll note here, these two characters have a lot of health, so having that level 5 is really important. What you're about to see is the hardest thing in the game, for sure, for the speed run. This is called a super zip. What's gonna happen is Rocher is gonna do another one of those zips that you saw before with the ledge grab. First try, oh my gosh. I am so not kidding. That is not a first try skip that you would ever imagine to get first try. That was amazing. Basically what happens there, you have no collision when you're grabbing that ledge in the moment where normally you would hop up onto that ledge. And so doing that similar ledge grab allows you to just zip through that wall and you're basically act as if it's not there. That is a lot of the game just skipped right there. So that's fantastic. We also grabbed the first mask as well there. So we grabbed that first mask in the hope to, get the 3 of them that we need to use this elevator coming up here and to place them into that bowl. And so we're taking this elevator ride. And funny enough, this elevator ride is free. It's already ready to go. Normally, you would have to get a key and everything, but it's actually just ready for us and sitting there, which is very cool. So coming up here, we do have a couple enemies, our wardens coming up there. We're going to be attacking here. So we'll see which direction Rocher goes here. Probably taking the save here no matter what. We're going to go straight towards those wardens on the right-hand side. So you're going to see a transition screen here that we're going to attempt to go for. Similar to what I talked about before with with the IMC. We're going to try to load in here. If you open the menu right before you're about to fall on top of this enemy, actually, you're opening up a similar instance of the game. I think you missed it there. We're going to try it one more time. The frame that you were about to hit that enemy, we're going to load in here. And there we go. We got this screen. That's great. And so what this does is there's 2 wardens that you would normally expect to see on this right-hand side.
I missed it.
Missed it? Okay, no, it's no problem. So you would basically pass by this warden's fight. It really only saves time if you get it within the first 3 attempts at it. So we're just going to go for this. This fight is also pretty fast with our up-CCing method that we have here. So we take them out pretty quickly here, with pretty swiftly, from what I can tell. Nice job. Really great. It is, like I said, it's slightly faster to go that other way, going down below and then passing this whole screen directly, but we're good to go regardless. We just kind of, at that point, it's like, all right, we'll just kill them. It doesn't take too long. Anyway, we have some navigation here. We're going to be moving around, and we're going to go towards our second mask and getting a save point here in a moment, so you'll be seeing that. Asuka, we maybe have time for like a donation or 2 here while we're moving around.
$25 from Crystal, or who says, SGDQ used to happen a bit earlier during my birthday, but you know what? The amazing Rocher running Blasphemous is still the best gift I can ask for. Go, Rocher, go!
Nice. That's so awesome. All right, here we have a couple skips. We have a levitation here that we're doing. If you open up the menu right before you're going to hit this side, you can levitate here. And what we're actually going to do here is we're going to also grab. Let's see if you just kill this enemy, get him out of the way. It's really really annoying. So. All right, so we're going to grab this ledge. We're going to go for a zip here, like you were seeing before. Shoot ourselves upward, and when you attack midair on top of that lever, you actually grab the lever midair. That was fantastic. That saves a bunch of time. You're not supposed to obviously fly up there. So that was a ton of time saved. Allows us to grab this second mask, and then we actually reset. It's important to save and quit out there so we can go back to that checkpoint. Because what happens is that we, excuse me, my voice is going. Basically what happens there is that we can load all the way back to that previous save point, and that mask will still show up in that same spot that we just saw it. So we're functionally getting 3 masks by duplicating the second mask. And so we're kind of seeing some navigation here. And so we're using, this is the example of that Vertialis that we grabbed earlier in the game. We actually had 2 fervor, if you noticed up at the top, we had 2 fervor that we were able to use both of those on that enemy. So we skip past those little angel characters with the like the line connecting to them. Those can take out like 3/4 of your health with a hit, so you really need to make sure you avoid those. So we're dropping our masks in the bowl here, loading out here. We'll be quitting out here, and this will be the part where now there is a second mask, which is functionally acting as our third mask here. And so we're going to go back down up here and grab that third mask and basically navigate and do that exact same thing that we just saw right here. One other thing that I will mention, actually, that's kind of important for this run is that a lot of the animations that we're doing are being canceled through these doorways. And so we're not actually like, holding still or seeing any of the animations for like, getting your fervor up to 2, which is that blue bar that you're seeing underneath the red health bar. So I wanted to call that out as well. Just save some time in transitions and animations, because we do need the Vertialis ability a fair amount here to clear some of these enemies. But Asuka, we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more donations before we, probably like 2, before we hit our upcoming fight with Chrysanta.
Of course, $50 from Hashi and Maki, who says, good luck on the run, Rocher. Of course we're here to watch you destroy this game. Trans rights.
Trans rights.
We also have $50 from Landry, who says, I had to wake up early for Blasphemous. Hands down, one of my favorite Metrovanias of all time. Good luck with the run.
Awesome. Thank you for those donations. All right, so that was that third mask, moving our elevator up. Surprise, we don't fight that many bosses in this speedrun, but we are going to fight a couple. And so one of the ones that we are going to be fighting is Chrysanta. So Chrysanta is definitely a knowledge check, a skill check coming up here. Really tough boss. What I will tell you is that there's 2 main phases that I was going to call out here. The first phase is not too bad. There's a lot of flipping and attack damage rolls that you need to avoid. Excuse me. I'm going to get some water before we describe this. 1 moment. It's a lot of descriptions. Okay. So the Chrysantha fight, we got 2 phases. The first phase is a lot of dodging attacks. There's usually doing like a lot of flipping. The main thing to know here is we need to back up from the boss a fair amount, because if we at any given moment are too close to the boss, she will 2-shot us, and that is bad. If we get to the 60% bar of her health, that will be phase 2. And so I'll explain what phase 2 is once we get there. But first, she's gonna do that back roll. We're gonna do that up CC method here. Great parries to start. And if she's gonna flip up here, we're gonna keep attacking. Really nice job. And you're gonna see Rocher back up a little bit here to ensure that we, keep our distance from the boss. Great parry. We're gonna get her in a corner if and when possible. And you'll notice that the health bar at the bottom, once we have 4 bars that are fully empty, that will be the start of the phase 2. You'll know it's the start of the phase 2 when you see the lightning strike come down. So you'll see that here shortly. All right, there's that lightning strike. We have entered phase 2. Phase 2 is these horizontal dashes. We're gonna do Vertialis on the ground around the second dash. On the diagonal attack, we will jump up and slap with our sword to dodge hitting. And then you'll notice here, Rocher is lining up our character when Chrysantha respawns on the bottom of the map. We are gonna line up our character, the penitent one, in the middle of that column you'll see in the middle of the map here. So you'll see in a second, right here where we're lined up, we're gonna do some dodging here, a second dodge, and then a jump attack. So we're lining up right where Rocher is right now. That guarantees that we spawn the boss right next to us right there to set up more up CCing to do massive damage. So it's kind of resetting, avoiding these diagonal dodges and horizontal slashes, doing a Vertialis if we can. And then once we get those horizontal dashes, there's another Vertialis, nice job. So we have 2 bars left here. Again, lining up in the middle after this one. Nice, and guaranteeing that the boss spawns right next to us. We do more slashes. We got 1 bar left, some more dodging here. We're at the final stage where some of the horizontal dashes and diagonal dashes become more random, so it's more reactionary in nature. A couple more attacks here should do it.
Oh, come on.
Ooh, a couple hits away? This might do it midair. Oh, 1 away, maybe. There it is, nice fight. Fantastic.
All right, I guess to showcase a small glitch in this version of the game. If you do the execution animation on Chrysantha from the right, you actually go full JoJo pose by having a double animation of the penitent.
That's so cool. I love that. All right, so we're coming up on the last boss of the game, but surprise, we don't do the last boss of the game. So we're gonna take this checkpoint here, and we're actually gonna do that same wrong warp mechanism that we were using before. So again, using either a death plane or some degree of like screen changing or room changing, we can do that same kind of thing. So we'll be quitting out at the moment that the screen is transitioning or we're dying, that kind of thing. And in the limbo state, we're gonna send our character past where that boss would be. And so in doing so, we actually don't have to fight the boss. We'll be physically past the boss. The boss is still active and very much there. And okay, that's first try, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be immediately sent past. You're seeing in that with the little bar on the top. We're walking past that boss, and we're going to load back into our save once we're past there. And in doing so, we will have functionally skipped that last boss of the game. And there we go. There he is. Just a little slap in the face as we're walking by. Really
I'm just
nice
saying
job.
hi.
Just saying hi. Yeah. Fantastic job.
And we're already at the climb of the Mountain of Ash, and the time will be on the complete fade out to black once the penitent completely sinks into the ashes.
It's coming up in like 5 or 10 seconds.
So doing quick jumps just in order to get a bit faster, because this slows us down a lot. And time.
Fantastic run. Sub 17. That was great. Nice job.
1653 is really good.
That's
is really good, despite the zip first try is the thing
that was wild.
That just blew me away. Like I was completely. I just didn't know what was happening at that point.
That's functionally a frame perfect trick.
It's between frame and subframe perfect because it has something to do with the input being picked up before the physics update. So sometimes you're right on the input, but the game just tells you no, and for some reason.
Wow, fantastic run.
But yeah, I would like to do a quick shout out. First, I'd like to shout out the French restream. That is a very dear community to my heart that kept me going forward in speedrunning. Love you all, the guys. You're the best. I would like to thank GTQ for having me and thanks Bobby for commentating the run. It's helped me a lot, and it's my first time ever to GDQ after 8 years of speedrunning. Thank you also to the Blasphemous community. Those games are awesome and very speedrun friendly. Ton of fun, ton of load category, so you can try them as well. I'd like to thank my boyfriend, who is in the audience. He accompanied me all the way from France to cheer me up in the audience in GDQ. And thank you, GDQ, for this 15 minutes of absolutely nonsense of parallel universe things. And as we say in the French restream, gardez la pêche.
Awesome.